This is both Birmingham-on-Sea and the most unofficial reseller meetup in the world.
I'm not sure about that. There you go.
Birmingham-on-Sea, for anyone who doesn't know, is a seaside town that once had its heyday in the 60s.
I don't even know if that's a fact, though. I think
No, it's popular still. It's popular, isn't it? But if you come off-peak, off-season, it's
what?
Quiet.
Quieter? Yeah. Like every seaside town in the universe.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
It's next to Western-super-Mare for anyone who really wants to know. This is a hospice.
Check your gold buttons, folks.
Clearance shop. Oh, I thought you were going to talk about suits then.
No, I'm not going to.
What do we check on suits, Oz?
Buttons, we check linings, we check, obviously, labels. A lot of the time you'll see, like, it sounds funny, but a lining has, like, obviously most of them are silk or supposed to be silk or satin. They'll have, if they have a name in the actual lining itself, it means they've gone to the expense of doing so. So usually they're slightly more expensive.
Or like a tweed or like a premium material.
Yeah, exactly that. It's, I mean, to be honest, if I'm truthful, a lot of the time it's harder to tell than people will actually let you believe with suits, because suits are getting better quality.
Swimmer shorts also this time of year, and men's shorts. I've started selling men's shorts.
Well, like as in it's a new business line to you?
No, as in men have started to purchase them from me.
Okay.
Especially polo and any like madras, check shorts, etc.
Belfield aren't a bad brand. It's just we don't really do well with it, so nah.
But swim shorts particularly, and there's loads of like high-end niche brands of swim shorts that I find that sell really well. Like Velvet Queen obviously isn't niche, it's very mainstream. But there are a few other ones like Belford and Bell or something. There's a few like niche.
Oh, and the ones we do the shirts for,
Olibar Brown.
That was
obviously,
very loud.
Sorry. Sometimes I just get
like you were shouting it at me.
A spike of ties. Always check ties.
Ties, belts, you know the score.
We've got such a funny Hermes tie story to share with you.
I don't think we filmed that, did we?
No, we didn't. It was I can't even talk about it at this very present time. We'll get back to it. Polo shirts. We've been selling a lot of polo shirts recently as we go into the spring transitional months. The men want to get their arms out but keep their necks warm.
Necks? It's not really This is a Dean Ambrose WWE t-shirt, which I need just dropped. I collect old and new wrestling t-shirts for anyone who thinks I'm weird. Clarification, yes I am. And I actually picked this up because it's free X. I'm actually eventually going to sell a lot of my vintage shirts and some of my newer shirts, but this is at free X, and to be honest, they usually mail away. You can't really get them in this country unless you use the web.
Mail away? You're such an 80s child.
Yeah, that's like that. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? I guess it is. You get them through the mail.
Sea salt. I don't generally pick up sea salt tops, like as in like tops.
Unless they're dirt cheap like
Unless
this.
they're cheap. By the way, this shop is all £2, so none of the prices apply.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was like $4.50. We didn't pay $4.50. And would you pay $4.50 for that?
Not for that.
No.
I would pay $4.50 for like a little tunic top or like a little shirt.
Something really sea salty.
Yeah, or like a little, skirt or something like that.
Anyone who doesn't pick up sea salt, like just especially like the tunics, but also like the schmucks.
Like I call like the real like hardcore nautical fisherman's
They
vibes.
always sell quick, and it's such a resellery thing to say, but I'm afraid it's true. They do buy them as long as they're cheap.
Corduroys.
However, a lot of charity shops charge too much for them now, I feel.
Yeah, they're like the new Karen Millen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The new LK Bennett.
Yeah.
Although I think LK Bennett prices are finally coming down. Not that I want to sell it, but they're finally coming down.
I know. And it's one of those things that people always will talk about, because I think it's one of the first, what I call like high street brands that people will kind of think it's a more like expensive brand. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like sometimes rib costs really expensive.
This was an amazing pickup by Bethany. You'll see loads of knockoffs of these in charity shops. This, however, was authentic. You can't really tell by my photographic skills because I'm a moron. But there's a lot of tells on these.
What is it, Oz?
What? It's a Longchamp
La
Plage. The stamping's good. The hardware was good. The stitching's amazing. It's slightly used. Actually, it wasn't very used. Slightly used. There's usually some fraying on these as well, on the authentics from the inner pocket. So if you have it, I don't know if this one has it or not, but yeah, see, like at the bottom of fraying, it's just the way that fabric frays. So don't let that put you off, because everyone's like, oh, you see the stitching, for example, on there and there is immense. There's a lot of kind of, I don't know, sometimes people get too in, does it feel quality? Does it feel this? Like the knockoffs are usually good quality. That's not it's not a
great
best
indication.
No, it's not. And the higher end you go for the knockoffs, the better you are.
Also, Longchamp are a seasonal brand, so they do like a core line of colours, so navy, black,
Like that brown is one.
and brown. But then they also do they do seasonal pinks, seasonal reds, seasonal blues.
Like every year there's a different orange.
Yeah, so it's very much I like if you're talking about it, it's very much like Kettlewell.
Yeah.
Like loads
with
of
all
different
the colours, yeah. Like if you go into one of their stores, they have them like everywhere.
Talk about this quick.
Okay, yeah, just quickly, it was a knockoff. Fred Perry from Sheen. I don't know if that's how you say it, the Chinese kind of, yeah, probably. Going back to the Lapillage, if you go into one of their shops, even if you're just passing one, go in because they usually have the way they fold them. If you haven't seen, I'll do it one day. You can fold them into a square, these bags. And they have them like that on the wall, so it's like a tiled wall basically of colour bags. It's amazing.
And also, you really want to look out for like the
luggage pieces.
The luggage pieces, but the limited edition colorways. So I personally have
Great shot there, Austin.
Collection of a collab they did with Jeremy Scott of Moschino a couple of years ago. He did some Empire State lollies and all that kind of stuff. They're going for, I think they're hitting 300 at this point. And they've done multiple other collaborations with other fashion brands. Those ones are great to look out for. They also do one that has matching handles to body, so it won't be the brown leather, it'll be the whatever color the bag is. They go for a bit more too because they're a more premium price point.
They also do obviously Longchamp, just to clarify, most people know them for that bag or that style of bag. They do like the nicest high-end leather bags as well, and luggage
and shoes and clothing.
Like they're a luxury company.
And full luggage. They do a lot of what I'm saying is they do a lot of different things, and this is actually probably the most basic range they do.
Retail, they're like between I think like 60 or 70 to 100.
They've gone up a bit,
100 depending on the bag, like for that bag I'm talking about.
They also do customized ones, so if you ever see them with stripes on or whatever, the people have gone onto the website and picked their colours.
Yeah, kind of cool. Anyway,
I've got one with initials
enough of that.
Not my initials, someone else's.
You're right actually.
Yeah,
orange and red. So we're into another shop. Sorry about that kind of detour. Just thought we'd give you some info on that because I know a lot of people pick them up and sometimes wonder
about the plage. Anyway, this is the next shop. As we walked through the door, you did see a little clip of another reseller. Dun, dun, dun.
Which we said hello to.
Which is obviously the unofficial reseller meetup.
Okay.
That was Sam. Everyone knows Sam. If you don't know Sam, I'll put her Instagram link in the bio, and you can go and follow her on Instagram because she's fabulous.
She's really nice.
Yes. Well, that's what fabulous means, Austin.
Is it? There's my legs.
Ooh, pins.
I don't know if I mean like matchsticks.
I
maybe.
left those in just for fun.
Thanks. I did actually ask her to edit these ones out on this occasion. Bethany edited for a change, and you'll see the quality is diminished somewhat. I'm just joking. It's really nice. But you didn't need to see my legs. That's
I
the
find
point.
with Birmingham Sea, is we get a lot of vintage. Well, we used to get a lot of vintage T-shirts, a lot of vintage Nike.
Yeah,
it's that
true,
kind
actually.
of place.
Yeah,
I don't know. Also, their prices are dirt cheap, but you have to like hunt for good things. If that makes sense.
To be honest, if you're like what I call like a reseller's reseller, so like you just said earlier, like Sea Salt, Karen Millen, the kind of they're not basic by any stretch, but like they're the pillars of the reselling kind of clothing community. It's great, and they're usually pretty reasonable. But as we said before, at the moment we are dealing with like even though we're picking like every day like idiots, we are being quite choosy on what we see. So if you see us pick something up, we tell you a story about it. It's not because we haven't picked it up because we wouldn't, or it was too expensive, or it might just be we have too much at the moment. I don't even know why I picked this up. It's obviously something, but I don't know why.
I think you showed me the brand and you were like, and I had
is this something you're like meh?
Yeah. Always check sports bras. Weird thing, or like crop tops, is I think these are overlooked as much as like ties and scarves. The amount of Sweaty Betty and Lululemon ones I found just like hanging out on racks.
The other thing is, this is just on a side note. Any guys watching this, right, who firstly not only have an issue with going into the ladies section, which I know some people do, which I think is stupidly weird, whatever, it's closed, but also having worked in the luxury sector for so long and having dealt with the most crazy women on the planet, bar none, you have to back me up on this one, and having done countless like zips up, or can you do this for me, or can you do that for me? Honestly, checking through a sports bra isn't a problem at this point in my adult life.
I honestly,
I don't know why people are not a
I
problem.
had to adjust someone's chest area once to get into a dress.
And they don't differentiate between male and female in that situation.
I wasn't even on the shop floor. I was doing visual merchandising. Like, I can't even talk to
That's
you.
what I'm saying. So I think some people, especially guys, they they'll make a joke about looking at ladies' things like that. Just chill out, guys. It's clothing. It's cool. You're not weird. It's just fabric. Let it go.
But I do get shooed out the men's section sometimes too, from the same perspective.
That's because you're really overly aggressive in the men's section. No, you're not.
These are shape ups. These are Skechers shape ups. Skechers were fascinatingly sued for these shoes because they don't do what
Anything for you.
so people thought they were like a fitness aid, like a cross trainer but on your feet, and they actually don't do anything for you, and they were sued because of it. There's me looking up comps, but they do still do quite well. This is an older design that just says shape up on their edge instead of like Skechers shape ups. And the comps are quite good on them. They were only $3.99, and do you know what? We didn't get them, and it was just one of those things. I was
Once again, I think as well they're big, they're clumpy. The other thing actually with some of these, always check as well, because they're massive chunky soles, and they were made before like kind of chunky soles were popular. They deteriorate very quickly. So if you push your thumb into them, don't do the bend test because that makes me cringe. But push your thumb onto the sole. If it's hard, great. If it's not, and your thumb goes
I find that
through
happens
it,
more with MBTs.
MBTs for sure.
MBT is another curved sole shoe, just like those that also do very well, but they do have a tendency to crumble. I also find a lot of people leave these in their garage. They think, oh, I'm going to get fit, not going to get fit anymore. Put them in the garage.
Almost like weights or like an exercise bike.
So they crumble.
Yeah.
I also find that also with Buffalo shoes, the Spice Girls platform shoes.
The vintage, not the new, the vintage. They obviously they're 20 years old, you know, and they crumble.
It's the type of sole they use on them.
A big one. You know, if you think if just Nikes or something like that, they crumble. So those massive soles, they will diminish over time.
I suggest it's what they use to bulk it up, isn't it?
Yeah. Check the belts, guys. Check the belts.
Belts and bags. Austin's legs.
A lot of my legs in this video. Once again, unhappy with the amount of sheer.
I think it was raining this day as well.
Yeah. As soon as like kind of April comes, it's short weather. Simple. That's how we roll.
Simple. T-shirts.
Lots of this is quite a good one coming up. Not this one, not that actual one at all. But there is one, I think, in a minute, which we will talk about. What is that?
You were reading that, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm not Einstein. I don't read particularly fast. I talk very fast. The combination of both, I guess, would kind of level me out. So maybe I just read everything. Okay, here we go. So this is an Abbey Road T-shirt, which most of you all think, oh, it's just a retro, or it's blah 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 blah. No, it's a 1980, I believe, 5 or 1987. On the label, the interior label, and on the T-shirt itself was printed 1985. And just to clarify, this wasn't like a original 1985 and kind of dated then 2002 or 2020 or whatever, as in it's a repro. It actually says 1985 on there, which I'm just showing you. I picked this up because I wanted to basically explain. It's not illegal, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people are reprinting repros. And when I say that, I don't mean the style or the particular image. I mean the exact shirt down to the dated numbers on shirts and selling them as vintage. The problem with this shirt, which I'll show you in a minute, which is quite obvious, is you shouldn't have a date like that unless they also have a new date. The tag was Flashback, but Flashback actually made shirts more recently, but they've also made Flashback vintage shirts as well, as in they're from 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's just a brand of shirt. This one specifically, it was pretty good up until the point when you kind of like the fade was good, there was yellowing. It was okay. The main issue this shirt had over everything, obviously it wasn't a single stitch, which is a major giveaway, guys, just to clarify.
In the 80s, 90s, you can have crossover pieces.
There would be very few 80s shirts which were single stitch, just because
double stitch, sorry.
Yeah.
There
were very few which were double stitch, sorry, yeah. They would be all single stitch.
You do see them every now and then.
You do, but the reason being was merch band shirts were made cheaply, like they are today. They're not made on expensive shirts, unless you're talking like, I don't know, Drake or someone like that who spends hundreds on merch, right? basic band shirts are made cheap from Gildans or Blanks or whatever. So they would be the cheapest possible, single stitch. Double stitch cost more back then. I mean, it was just a far, far, far superior kind of way of making them. So most 80s, 70s shirts should be single stitch. Obviously, you've heard this 1,000 times from resellers because every reseller knows exactly what vintage shirts are by now. That was a diss, just to clarify. Some people don't know what they're talking about.
To?
No one, just general resellers who talk on vintage stuff, which have no idea about vintage things. Okay. Like this was dated. The other thing is, guys, which people don't look for enough, if you have a website on your branded label, it was made at least like late 90s. Look at this cracker now. Get ready. Look at this. See that label? Look what it says. Firstly, it's in a label, which no old shirt like that would have.
Georgia Asda.
It says Georgia Asda. What the absolute, you know what?
Austin was really upset about this.
Well, I was. Just on the basis that, once again, I don't know if I can get it. It's officially licensed, yeah, which means it's a retro. But just to clarify, the Beatles didn't come out in the 80s. So it can be a retro. Until you see things like this, which are ultra annoying. They just shouldn't have these printed like this with the date on. It just shouldn't be allowed. And I say that like I'm sounding bitter. I didn't think for a second I'd found an Abbey Road T-shirt from
what they
that
would
time.
say is the graphic wasn't from 1985,
which
so
is
they
fair.
could date the graphic.
But the crazy thing is the licensing on the graphic wasn't the same license as when it says blah 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 1985. Anyway, cut a long story short. That's just a few tips and hints on buying vintage shirts. If you have thoughts on vintage shirts, you think, should I pick this up? Send it to us. I'll tell you yay or nay.
This is one of those full price rails of brands where they've sent stuff into charity shops, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, which are normally ridiculously overpriced. But on this occasion, they had 50% off of their price. So it could work out okay if you can find a brand that you have actually heard of. Now, they had some Free People dresses, some gingham ones. They wanted...
They're really nice.
Yeah, they wanted £40 for them.
40.
Yeah, with 50% off.
So it was 20.
So it would have been 20. However... comps were coming back for this particular dress at between $17.99 and $25, because the problem arises that no Free People dress should go for that. Free People dress would go much more for that, but it's sort of like the TK Maxx curse.
Yeah.
So something goes, or a selection of dresses are sent to TK Maxx because they didn't sell or they were overproduced or whatever, and the price just plummets on people at eBay because people get them for a cheaper price. So say I get that dress for 30, I wear it to 4 events and I put it on eBay to make a bit of money back.
Or your money back, and it goes to 30.
Yeah,
no?
but it will be all the same dress. Because
the classic example Bethany said about the TK Maxx curse, there's a rib cough, is Massimo Dutti. And honestly, that brand...
it's not even... No, I wasn't even referring to that. I'm talking about when high-end companies, like Chloe, for example, send a collection in...
And that particular dress or...
they only use a certain amount of the collection.
Yeah.
That goes to TK Maxx, and they're the only ones you see in TK Maxx. Everyone knows that's a Chloe TK Maxx dress.
That particular dress, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I meant the brand in general.
No, I'm talking about this particular design.
Item, a specific design. I'm with you. Anyway, that's us rambling. Once again, thank you for watching, and look out for the new video soon. Thank you.